Hey, in Joshua chapter 18, at the beginning of the chapter, the people have all come together at Shiloh, and Joshua has reminded 7 of the 10 tribes that they have not claimed an inheritance yet. And so he is going to assign them one. And he picks out 3 men from each tribe, and he's going to send them throughout the land to survey the place. And then they're going to draw up boundaries and decide the inheritance from there. And I want to read you verse 6. This is Joshua 18, verse 6. You shall therefore survey the land in 7 parts, and bring the survey here to me, that I may cast lots for you here before the Lord our God. Joshua has done something really kind of clever to avoid a serious potential problem. If he had sent out these 3 men from each of the tribes, so that would have been 21 men, to survey the land and mark out territory for each of their own tribes, who knows what they might have come back with. There could have been arguments between the tribes about disputed boundaries. But since nobody knew where the boundaries were going to be or which tribe was going to get which territory, these men had a vested interest in being as fair as possible and as explicit as possible in drawing out these boundaries, so that there would be no confusion and no reason to fight later, because they didn't know which one of these territories their tribe was going to get. It was a good way to forestall accusations of bribery or cheating or disputes later. And I want to read you a verse from Leviticus that at first glance might not seem related. Leviticus chapter 19, verse 14. You shall not curse the deaf, nor put a stumbling block before the blind, but shall fear your God. I am the Lord, or Yahweh. Now, in this chapter, it does talk about not cheating and not indulging in bribery or injustice. But this verse applies here specifically in that Joshua was not putting a stumbling block before these men. It's important when you have authority over other people, there's a time to test people and to see what they will do, and a time to get the job done. And in this case, Joshua was avoiding putting these men in a potentially compromising situation. They might have been pure, they might have been honest, the most just men that they could find. But every man has his limits. Every man has his price. And it's important that we avoid putting ourselves and putting other people in situations where they might be tempted. Those temptations and those compromising situations can be stumbling blocks. We're all familiar with, in recent years, how Vice President Pence has a policy of not being alone with a woman. That's a great policy. Every man should adopt this policy, not to be alone with women who are not his immediate family and his wife, or close relationships that everybody knows there's not going to be a problem with. It doesn't matter how good you are. It doesn't matter how honest and straightforward you are. There's always a chance that you will be tempted, and there's a chance that other people will accuse you of wrongdoing when no wrongdoing has happened. So it's better just not to put those stumbling blocks in front of people if they can be helped. And that's what Joshua did here in chapter 18 when he sent out those spies. They were blindly selecting the land for tribes. They didn't know which tribe was going to get that territory. So they had to be as honest and as clear as possible. This was a really wise move on Joshua's part. It demonstrated great leadership. This is Jay Carper from American Torah. Be blessed.